Hello, everybody. It is Tom, and this is the question of the week. So, hello. We are back with the question of the week. First of all, because I said I would do that. And second of all, because I simply don't want the most recent video on my channel to be the very dark and heavy story of my abusive high school boyfriend. So, here's another video. Yay! I am pretty used to talking about personal stuff on the internet. I am a chronic oversharer, but that video, I will say, is the first time in a very long time where I have felt just after posting it, I had this moment of oh my God. It's so weird because logically I know that it wasn't my fault what happened, and there's nothing to be ashamed of for me. I didn't do anything that was shameful, but it's still wrapped up in there. That feeling of shame and guilt from way back then when I was a teenager is still in there somewhere. And so I still have this kind of vulnerable feeling about sharing it, but I'm glad that I did. And thank you so much to everyone who's watched that video and left their comments, either empathizing or sharing your own stories. I very much appreciate it and hope you're all doing great. And yes, but we're not here to talk about that. We're here to do a question of the week. And actually, we're going to do questions of the week because we've missed a few weeks. And also, when I was looking through the deck, I found a few that I was interested in talking about. And also, they're all going to be kind of short. So this will not be a 3-minute video. We are going, although I've probably talked for how long have I been chatting? Okay, I've been talking for 2 minutes 50 already, but yes. So once again, we are drawing from Let's Get Deep, Questions for Friends, which I can't remember if I shared this before, but I bought this initially when someone I was dating was coming over, and I was like, what if we run out of things to talk about? So naturally, for someone you're dating, you get questions for friends, but I didn't want to put pressure on them. So we're going to work from the icebreaker deck today. Enjoy the rubber band. The rubber band on the deep deck died, rest in peace. So I'm going to need to get another rubber band. You don't need to know that. I don't know why I'm telling you about rubber bands. I have drawn 3 cards from the icebreaker deck, and we're going to talk about them. So let's start with how did you come up with your first online username? So yeah, thinking back. So my first online username. Okay, I remember my first 2. They were on AOL. They were my AOL usernames. And the very first one I had was Mythos2345. And Mythos was a character from Highlander, the series, who was this 5,000 plus year old immortal who I desperately wanted to be. So my first username, Mythos2345. My second one was Raistlin9876. I was very creative with the numbers. I don't know, it's an iceberg made of numbers. The reason for that, if you know Dragonlance, is that my favorite character from Dragonlance was Raistlin, the bitter but powerful mage. Raistlin was another one I was obsessed with and wanted to be. Raistlin is a very complex character and very much an asshole. He is mean. He is a mean guy. So it might have just been I was very nice and polite, and maybe it was a wish fulfillment thing. All right, so that is question 1. Question number 2. What was your first car? Or what would you like your first car to be? So I never actually owned a car. And these days, I have not had a driver's license for 15 years or more. So I definitely don't have a car. But the car that I learned to drive on was a Suzuki Sidekick with a manual transmission. And I learned to drive in a cemetery because we lived in Pennsylvania, Western Pennsylvania, very mountainous, lots of hills. And if you're driving a manual transmission, if you're driving a standard, you need to be able to stop on a hill and go again without the car drifting backwards into the person behind you. So my mom and I went to the very hilly cemetery where my dad is buried, actually. So, oh, hi, Dad, as I was driving. And she had me drive to the middle of a hill, stop, and then start again. And we did that again and again and again until, I had mastered it. And oh, we have a Darla. We have a Darla crawling onto the beanbag chair. Hello, Darla. Yeah, so I drove around the cemetery. I practiced starting and stopping. It was great. If you want to be somewhere where there's a low chance of killing anyone because they're already in that state, cemetery, good place to practice driving. All right, number 2 done. Question number 3. What was the last book you read? I tend to go in ups and downs when it comes to reading. I'll have a period where I read like 5 books in a week, and then I'll have a period where I read nothing for a month. But the book that I most recently finished reading was, I have it right here, You Will Get Through This Night by Daniel Howell. Ooh. So yes, this is Dan of Dan and Phil. And if you are not aware, Dan wrote this mental health book, You Will Get Through This Night, with the help of an actual trained psychologist. And I really cannot recommend this enough. Not only does it include a lot of Dan's trademark humor and great way with words, but it has some incredible practical advice. Basically, it's split into 3 sections. One is I'm feeling bad now. I'm anxious, I'm depressed, I need help now. What can I do? The next section is, okay, what can I do to make my daily life better? What are things where I'm not in danger right now? I'm not in a bad situation right now, but I want to improve it. And then the third one is what can I do for my life or something like that. So it kind of starts narrow and gets broader. And you can read those out of order. You can read them in order, but it has actually helped me. I've been dealing with anxiety, depression, so many lovely mental health issues for pretty much my entire adult life, and before then, most likely. And especially with anxiety, I have trouble with anxiety, panic attacks. And this book has actually helped me to not go into a panic attack several times. It has helped me de-escalate. The audiobook version of this book got me through the flight from Chicago to Sacramento to visit my family over the holidays when I was very stressed and nervous and potential for panic attack. It got me through that flight. You will get through this flight. The audiobook is great as well. It's narrated by Dan, and it has some exercises and music and things like that. It's really good. Cannot recommend it highly enough. All right, so those were my three answers: online username, first car, and the last book I read. So now it's up to you. In the comments, I would love to hear your answers to all or any of these questions. You don't have to answer all of them. You don't have to answer any of them. You can just say hi, whatever you'd like. So anyway, thank you for being here. Thank you for watching. Huge thanks as always to our patrons who are amazing, wonderful, fantastic, spectacular, stupendous. What's another word? Great. And a special shout out to our Nick Nelson members, Paul Z, Kim Engel, Angela Mondragon, Tanya, Kent Smither, and Frodo. All right, that's going to do it for me. Have a wonderful rest of your day or night or whatever time of day it may happen to be. I'll see you next time. Okay, bye.